DJ Bonomo with Cox Runner, Gamble and Sullivan, and he's looking those over and making changes. And so he's the one that will actually put his official name on those deeds to make your attorney happy. So we've got all that working right now. So right now we are doing one of the 2 public hearings. We'll do the final one, like I said, in your May meeting. Our total project cost is estimated at $833,500. We're requesting a grant in an amount of $750,000. And when we did the CenterPoint station, $500,000 was the maximum we could ask for. They've raised that grant amount to $750,000, which is wonderful, because we know that construction costs have gone up tremendously over the years. And so the fire department is required to put at least a 10% match up. So we're putting $83,500. Now we are still currently in fundraising, and Amber will speak on how much we've raised so far. But right now, what we have stated for the public hearing ad is $2,500. The fire station is already paid. It's a previously paid cost that can count as match for the environmental review that we were required to conduct. Okay, environmentals all come back and everything's clear. So environmentally, we're able to build the station. $6,000 they paid to the architect for all the preliminary engineering to get us to the application. And right now we're saying $75,000 from fire department checking account funds. But we have contacted the Community Foundation, because you know these grant applications are all about chasing the points. So we had to have philanthropic capital. So 4.1% of the total project cost of $833,500. Their donations, $34,174, are going to be entered into the Community Foundation in a philanthropic fund. So that will get us another 25 points on the application. Okay. So for our final public hearing, the local match sources will be different. We're hoping to raise the full $83,500. I think we have a little more than $20,000 to go. If we don't, then we will have to ask for a 0% interest or low interest loan from the commissioners from the county, which we've discussed, and I think you guys have discussed amongst yourself. But we can talk about that closer to time, because money's still coming in. So I handed you guys an agenda, and on the back of the agenda, kind of want to just go over scores. So the national objective score, there's 700 points total, and you have to have at least a 450 to be awarded. And so your national objective, we look at census data first, and it has to be at least 51% or higher low to moderate income. We are not. So we had to ask permission to conduct a survey, which we did. And the fire department actually went door to door in, I believe, a weekend or 2. And they completed that on October 19th. Oprah approved that on October 28th, and your survey doesn't expire until 2030. But hopefully we get funded the first shot, because this is an all or nothing. We get funded or we don't.
So you don't get them. You apply for 750, so they will not award you half of that.
No, they're either going to award us or they're not. Yeah. I think this is a really strong application, so I don't see it having any problems, but it is highly competitive, so we'll have to see. So out of the national objective 100 points, we're getting 62, and normally people are in the 50s. So I think we're sitting good on points there. Community distress, I wish we could go by the fire service area of Washington Township, but we can't. And so we have to go by Clay County, which you guys are the lead applicant. So we get 85.40 points out of 175. I'd like to see those in the 90s, but we're making up points some other places. Local match, again, I'm sorry, on the sheet it says minimum of 20. That's wrong. It's a minimum of 10. And so we are putting up 10.01 points in local match. So we're going to get 10.01 points there. We'll skip down to number 5, project sustainability, a full 50 points. There's 3 different categories that make this up. One is the philanthropic. We're going to be getting a full 20 points there. And then project sustainability, that's if the fire department were to set up a long-term permanent endowment with the Community Foundation. Money is really tight, as you can see, because we're trying to raise this money. If we raise enough money for the match and have a little over, we will probably do that. But at this point, we're not going to be able to do that. Green infrastructure, I submitted that the day the round was open on February the 26th. And we're hoping to get the full points for green infrastructure. I don't know, so I'm trying to be conservative here and we'll get a 5 out of 10. So 25 points out of 50 there. The bonus points, this is a virtual meeting that Marty and I will be having this, I believe, this Friday. This Friday, it'll be over the phone. And I developed a resiliency plan. I'm just going to be honest, it's kind of crazy. I don't know why we're even having to do it, but they've come up with this thing, so we developed the plan. Based on the points that they've already assigned for us, 20, and the plan and the meeting should get us another 5. We should be able to max the full 25 points there. Points reduction, it's been more than 5 years since you were the lead applicant for CenterPoint, so no point reduction there. In designated disaster areas, we're not able to do that because we weren't located into disaster area with the flooding and all that, like 3 years ago. So project design factors will go back up to number 4. These are the narratives, and this is what I'm working on now. And Amber has been just completely amazing. Love working with her. She's a wealth of information, and she's so quick to get information, and it's amazing. So project description, we describe what we're doing, our scope of work, our outcomes. Project need, we describe why we need it, obviously. If anyone were to view this station and go inside, I think they would realize that it's well overdue that they need a new fire station. Plus, this can serve as kind of like a community hub for Bowling Green because there's really not a lot there. And so this will be great for community events.
You submit pictures with this?
Yes, I'll probably have about 50 pictures in there, yes, with captions. And then financial impact, we explain why Clay County cannot do this on their own. If you did it for one station, you'd have to do it for all. So we're appreciative and of you guys being the lead applicant, so that speaks volume. And then if we do have to do any type of loan through you too, that'll show commitment as well. And so all of those, we have to score at least a 242.59 out of 300 to make the minimum score 450. The round 2 of last year, I had a water project go in, and it's getting awarded today. I'm scoring a 295 out of 300, so I think we'll be okay. And that was a hard sell water project. So this being a fire station should be a lot more because, you know, fire protection, public safety, I mean, it's a given, right? So I do not foresee us having a problem making minimum score. So before I turn it over to Amber to explain what donations have come in and why they need this grant, do you have any questions about the grant application or the process?
What happens on May the 4th?
May the 4th is your final public hearing. We will have to pass a resolution authorizing submission of the grant application and also commitment of the local match. So I would say a week and a half before is when we're going to have to cut off, well, probably sooner than that. I would say April 1st, we're going to have to cut off the fundraising at that point. I mean, we'll still take money in, but that's when we'll know if we need a loan from the commissioners. And then that will have to go into the resolution as well.
So the grant proposal will not be submitted until we pass the resolution?
Correct. Yes, that's a required document. And the grant is due June the 5th is when it's on a Sunday, which is really weird. They changed it to a Sunday, but okay. I don't know. But yes, the fire department will also pass their own resolution through their board and sign a treasury letter. And that will go in there as well with all the documentation.
Deal.
And we will open it up for public comment as soon as Amber goes, but do you guys have any further questions about the process?
Now, I will say that in my humble opinion that it is something that's badly needed. And I'm glad that they have the opportunity to pursue this. And I'm very hopeful that their fundraising goes okay. And I'm very, very hopeful that we do secure the grant because I think it's needed and they've worked on this, I know, and so they deserve it. They deserve it.
I agree with you.
And I will be doing the public hearing minutes today for Patty, and I had you previously a while back sign a third-party authorization authorizing me to do that. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Amber Kerr. She is the treasurer of the fire department.
Good morning. Like you said, my name is Amber Kerr. I am the secretary and treasurer for the fire department. Appreciate all the support we've received from you guys and the community. Like you guys, I know you guys acknowledge we very much need a new firehouse. We've outgrown our space and, you know, we've made it work for a long time, but it's, you know, we were able with the grant for the COVID grant through the commissioners, we were able to purchase a new brush truck and we had to kind of measure things and make sure it was going to fit. We received a actually free engine from Van Buren Fire Department that we don't have room for. So it's sitting at Center Point right now, waiting, waiting for us to be able to have space to be able to utilize all of the equipment that we have available. And our poor neighbor, I apologize to her at church service last week. I spoke to the Bowling Green Community Church last weekend. Our poor neighbor has to look at our porta potty out front. And she was so gracious about it. She said, it's okay. She's playing the organ over there. But in November, I sat down and sent letters to local businesses looking for support from the community. And then in December, we sent out a mailer to all of Bowling Green, so everyone that is within our township. And we have received so much support from the community and so many donations. So right now we're looking at, so the township trustee has a capital improvement fund that they are going to be giving us $33,500 towards our $83,500 from that. The Bowling Green Community Church is donating $20,000. And they also made a collection 2 weekends in a row. And we get all of the collection from that. I don't know how much that is yet, so I did not include that in my list, but there is more coming from that. And we've had 5 businesses make donations, and then several members of the community with a total of $60,300 and $500. Or $60,350, I said that right. So puts us well on our way to getting to the 83,000, which if we do have to take a loan, that makes it much more manageable for us. So fundraising has gone very well.
That's great to hear.
Yes, the community has been very supportive, and it's been a good process for us.
I'm curious, do you have any idea when the present building was built?
1981. Well, the smaller part of it was built in 1981, and then they added on the larger bay, the pole building part of it in 1991. Their initial plan when they started the department was to just kind of have one small engine and be able to, be the first to, they say, chimney fires and things like that. They wanted to, be able to manage until other departments could come. So when looking back in 2016, we averaged about maybe 40 to 50 runs a year. Now we are 100 plus.
That many?
Yes. Last year, I think we had 105. Year before last, it was 119. So we've
More than I anticipated.
more than doubled our runs. And some of it is, trees down on the highway, but, we're still needed for that. We do a lot of medical calls, car accidents. We cover 6 miles of 46. So it's a popular traveled area. So we're still pretty busy. We're all volunteer. So we make whatever we're available for. And we have pretty good support from our department. Lots of, hoping for new volunteers coming soon, hoping a new firehouse will kind of draw some more people in there.
That's recruitment.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, it's great to see the community working together and the donations coming in. That's a telltale sign that you guys are doing what you're supposed to be doing. So appreciate all your work.
How big is your building going to be that you guys built?
It's 54 by 84, I believe.
And I apologize, I didn't bring the drawings. I thought the architect would be here today, but some must have happened. I'm good.
With bathrooms.
With that, yes, that'd be nice. And running water. That's right, now we're using a hose.
Yeah, we have a single garden hose that we use, but, so new building. This is our drawings. So, sorry, I only have one copy. We'll have enough space for the 3 larger trucks, the smaller brush truck, and then the potential for a medical vehicle in the back. We will have 17 parking spaces over here. So with community center, giving us this property they use for parking, will allow them to use all those spots when they're using the community center for rentals and for the festival and such.
What is this?
So this is going to be our meeting room kitchen area, because right now we have no space for
Mhm.
any meetings or trainings or anything like that. This here is the bathrooms. This one will have a shower for decontamination. Right now, we don't have anywhere for us to, decontaminate after a fire. If we have something on us, everything goes home with us. So,
Unless it's warm and you can use the garden hose.
yeah, unless we can spray off with the garden hose. And then this area back here, we're hoping to put in a gear wash machine, and this is going to be our storage area. And then upstairs, we'll have a loft area for storage and office.
Fantastic.
And then this will all be closed off to help with the heating, and we'll have a door access on the second level to allow us to put stuff up there, and then maybe also use it for training.
Any other questions for Amber? Okay, we'll just open it to the floor then at this time, or do you got something
I've
else?
got a few more things, I'm so sorry. So just for the public hearing minutes, we want to say that this project will result in no displacement of any businesses or persons, okay? And for the $750,000 grant, $465,000 will be used to benefit the 62% low to moderate income people. And just wanted to state that Oprah never reveals how much money is available. We just have to find out if we're awarded or not. And then we have to state that the reason we are asking Clay County to be the lead applicant is because this grant program only allows a city, a town, or a county to be a lead applicant. And so that's the reason you are the lead applicant and the fire department is the subrecipient. And we also want to state that primary objective of the CDBG program is to develop viable communities by providing decent housing and suitable living environments and expanding economic opportunities, principally for persons of low to moderate income. And so at this time, if it's okay with you, commissioners, I'll open this up for public comments. And we really do have to have at least one resident comment. So if a resident would like to comment, if you're in support of this, if you believe fire protection is important.
That's where I'm in support of it, and it's very important.
Thank you.
Also agree. It's a very important project,
Thank you.
very supportive.
Add my name on there, Christie. I'm in Washington Township. I hope I never have to call them, but it's good to know that they'll have the equipment and be ready to be there at a moment's notice, so.
You've already heard what I said, so.
Yes, sir, I have that written down. And one thing we have to put into the minutes, Marty, is this the commissioner's top, which I know off the record, I know it's not, because you have many priorities, but is this a top number one priority of the commissioners?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, public safety is a top priority.
And is April 1st enough time if we do need to take a loan with the commissioners? Is that enough time for you before the May 4th meeting?
I'd have to get back with Larry Moss.
Okay.
I don't know if Mike would,
I mean, as long as it fits within the agenda of advertisement, I don't see that there'd be a problem, refer to Larry, who's been on for many years.
right,
I'm going to
okay,
get back with you on that. 'Cause
Yeah,
if we need to cut it off beforehand, we can do that.
okay.
Okay.
We'll have more coming in, I just don't know how much.
Yeah,
But we've come a long way. And I mean,
yes.
Amber has just been amazing. I mean,
When we met for lunch,
Yeah, we had
didn't have nothing.
Yeah.
But,
You better have another lunch.
yeah.
And Paul wants to come.
No, I mean, we've seen the same thing with other projects. I mean, the Genealogy Society and, once people see that it's actually going to take place, the community is very giving, so very generous in their giving.
And that's all I have, if there's not any other questions.
Okay, anything else for the fire department?
We truly appreciate your support. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, at that, we will close the public hearing then. So
I make the motion, we close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
moved and seconded, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And appreciate you working with the fire department, Christie, because we know when Christie's involved, you generally get money, so.
Thank you, Marty. I appreciate that.
So, okay, next item on our agenda is, consideration for the commissioner's tax sale. Patty, anything you want to add on that?
The treasurer and I have got together on a date. It is going to be September the 16th. And this is our regular commissioner's tax sale that we have every year.
Okay,
Where's that gonna be held at?
It will be held in here. I'm sure. Usually we have it at 10 a.m.
okay. So can I get a motion to approve the commissioner's tax sale for September 16th at 10 a.m. here in the commissioner's courtroom?
Motion, we approve the date, September 16th, 10 a.m.
Good deal.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Okay. Next item is the consideration of an interlocal agreement resolution with Harmony. You want
Yeah,
to fill us in on that, Brian?
Well, for a long time, we never plowed through Harmony Road and all that. And finally, the town just couldn't afford to get it done by their local people, so they contacted Eric Somhill and the county and us to see if we'd be interested in this. Since we've already done Center Point, we decided it'd be just a great idea to go ahead and get in there and do their road through 200, it'd be 200 east from the city limits or town limits to the north town limits. And then that'd be about it on getting the roads done.
Okay. Good deal. Yeah, but these make everybody look much better.
Yes, yes, I do.
When you have the road plowed through the county and you come to the town limit and they raise the blade, it just
Yeah.
doesn't go over real good. So it's great when communities and the county all work together. First off, we'll have to suspend the rules, I believe. Is that
No.
No.
This is-
resolution, yeah.
just a resolution? Okay, so can I get a motion to approve then?
I'll make the motion, we approve the interlocal agreement between Clay County and the town of Harmony.
Good deal.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0.
And I would second what you said earlier, Marty. I think it's great that the county and towns can work together for the betterment of everybody. We have the equipment, they do not, and so I think it's great that we can help them out. They work with us to get a job done. How often it's going to happen, I don't know, but nevertheless.
Hopefully no more this year.
Yeah.
So I need all three of you to sign, and then this will be presented at the council meeting.
Just one copy.
Yes.
Okay.
First page, right? Yeah, yeah, there was only one copy. Okay, our next item, we have a report from Mr. Keller from Thrive West Central.
Thank you so much. You already have a copy in all your packets, but here's a fresh copy. They're exactly the same. I haven't made any changes.
Some changes on this?
No changes, no changes. So I appreciate it, commissioners, for giving me the opportunity to come and present today. Ryan Keller here from Thrive West Central. I'm coming at request of Councilman Moss, who asked me to create what would a proposal look like for a revolving loan fund for housing in Clay County. That is something that we have in Vigo County, and then I'll be working with rural governments probably throughout this year to go around and see if anybody's interested in doing their own revolving loan fund for housing. So I've prepared information for what that kind of would look like as a sample document. Could be edited and changed to fit whatever the county would like. But it's a way to, one, encourage more building and development within Clay County for housing, not just relying on federal grant or state grant programs that are, usually lacking in how much we're able to get in those. Two, it would allow young, new builders to enter the market where it's very difficult. A lot of the builders that we have in our community have been here for a really long time and established, they maybe started building houses 25, 30 years ago when it was a little bit easier. Banks were a little more forthcoming with lending and taking that kind of risk. Well, after 08, 09 and all that crash, the banking regulations have gotten extremely strict. And so for young and I'm just saying new builders to that market, most of the time, they won't allow them to borrow very much in order to do that. Sometimes the max that they'll give them is 60% of what that project is, and most of them don't have the capital to be able to do it. So we can come in and partner with banks and lenders to de-risk what that looks like and allow them to come in and start small, build a house or two a year and kind of get going. As you notice, our building trades have really slowed down in this community, and we are lacking in skilled tradesmen and women to be able to perform these tasks. As a region overall, and even as a state, we're lacking in electricians and in plumbers and in framers, most bricklayers, most of the trades are really they've kind of dialed back over the last 20 years because we pushed people to go towards a collegiate route, and now the skilled trades are suffering. So by creating a revolving loan fund program, it gives you a consistent pool of money to kind of work with back and forth for builders to complete projects. They're generally short duration loans, so they're not a 20-year loan or a 25-year loan. It's typically 5, maybe 7 years at the max. We can do less if they're, maybe a younger builder and we're just getting them started. They might repay that loan back at the end of every home that they complete if they're doing 1 or 2, or maybe it's a 2-home project and they repay it that way, and then they can come back to get more funding if the project went well or if they have a smaller gap. And what we do is try to work with people to really know how to capital stack those projects so they can lean more on the private sector, less on the public sector, and we can, use this money for as long as it's available, and then it would go back to whatever fund you'd like it to in the future. So to give you a little perspective on what the housing here in Clay County has done through the Ready One program, that was 1.546 million. Clay County ended up doing right around $701,000 of that ready money for multiple projects here, and it yielded $7,113,072 in private investment.
Give that to me again.
$113,072 in private investment at the time of reporting. It's actually probably yielded more than that, because at the time of reporting, we used what we think the estimated sales value is on those products, and several of them have sold higher. So as they finish up their projects and they report those numbers, then I'm assuming that number might creep up even a little bit more. When you look at what the county has gained in all three of these projects from a tax perspective, if you look at it at 100% assessed value, you would gain $106,000, a little over $106,000 annually in new tax revenue gained off of those projects. Assessed value at 100% is not how we typically assess things in most communities. So I always calculate, as a good rule of thumb, right around 70% of the assessed value, puts you at $74,291 roughly on an annual basis of new tax revenue for those few housing projects that we were able to do. So that's a considerable, I think, ROI for what you looked at, because there was no local match on the ready. It was state dollars that came in at that $701,000. And so basically, you're able to get a 10-to-1 ROI on that. And if we think about setting a revolving loan fund up, what that would do over the next 5 years, I think we'll scale that exponentially. And then as we think about what the effects are on Senate Enrolled Act 1, how it does lower some of the ability for communities in their taxing, this would give you a counterbalance to that, and you would far exceed what any cuts would be in the future with additional development. So this is a program that I think is worthy of investment. I think that is probably where Councilman Moss's head was at when he asked me to create something along that lines. So I will present this later to the council later this evening, but I did want to come before you as the county administrators to see and hear what this was and be able to ask questions first.
For public information, where's this money originally going to come from for people to borrow?
That would be up to the council wherever they find money that they would like to invest in this program. And it would just go into a restricted fund, could only be used for these types of projects, would be low interest, and with that, so it would be interest bearing.
So the interest that's generated goes back into the fund, right?
Part would be into the fund and part would be the administration of the program. So, but it would grow and we would base interest rates on risk. We operate about a $1.3 million revolving loan fund now that's federal dollars through USDA and EDA for small business loans through, I think we do 7 counties in this area. And we gauge those interest rates. Usually it's plus or minus 2 of whatever the prime interest rate is. Depends on risk, and if we feel like.
So this will vary from
endeavor.
individual to individual then?
Absolutely. So we'd have a separate committee that would review those. Typically it's made up of lenders and bankers and, from the for-profit lending space as well as the nonprofit lending space, like credit union and things of that nature. But yes, we have those folks all comprised on that board, and it would be a partnership with what our housing board would look like. And so they would have 2 quality checks, one on the lending side and then another on the project side. So we would ensure
Something that the council will need to consider and approve, right?
This would, yeah, if they so felt that this is something they would want to pursue, I'm in favor of it just because I see the additional gains every year in tax revenue from housing. So there's not too many opportunities for county governments other than building more housing and getting more people through income tax for you to grow your pot of revenue. And I recall during your State of the County speech that you gave here at the YMCA last week that, your budget has largely been kind of stagnant. This is a way now to grow that budget annually and do all the things that continue to cost more, like bridges and roadways and rock and everything else. I mean, costs only go up. So we have to find a way to increase your revenue pool to cover those. Otherwise, you find yourself in a situation where you have to keep cutting services or doing the bare minimum. And I don't think anybody here in this community really wants that. Everybody enjoys the amenities of nice roads and safe bridges.
Well, I know for a fact that people from some other counties would love to move to Clay County, but they don't have a place to move to.
Yeah,
And so, from my point of view, this would be, I think, very productive for the county, increased population and students at schools, and our tax income, long range, I think would be a great thing for Clay County.
yeah, I agree. I agree. We've got so many employers here in town that can't fill positions because there's just not enough people here, so, yeah. But, well, we sure appreciate you coming in, Ryan, and presenting this report to us, and we'll look forward to hearing what the council has to say tonight, so.
Absolutely. I'll see you hopefully all three tonight.
Good
Thank
deal.
you so much. Have a good day.
Thanks again.
Thank you
for
very
coming
much.
in. Okay. Next item we can act on is the primary vote center locations. You got something to give us on that, Brenda?
I have it.
Okay,
Everything's the same. As far as the 8 locations, vote center locations on election day.
All these places have been contacted and agreed, right?
Yes. The only issue is with early voting. I had to flip-flop Bowling Green and Corey because Bowling Green Community Center was not available on April 25th. So we will be there on May 2nd and Corey Nazarene Church on April 25th. So same places, just flip-flop the weekends,
And what's the hours for early voting? Is that
9 to 4
9 to 4?
at our satellite locations, yeah.
I was asked the other day, when is the deadline for voter registration?
April 6th.
April 6th.
Bowling Green, you said it was 5-2, correct?
Yes. Early voting is due to start in the election office on April 7th at 8 o'clock. But we are waiting to, Nicole's out this week, so I'm hoping I'll hear something from the Indian Election Division. House Bill 1359, I was told it's just waiting to be signed. And that will cut our early voting from 28 days to 16. So that would,
So that did pass.
that's what I was told yesterday.
I did not know that.
So I'm just waiting to hear from the Indiana Election Division.
Great.
So that would put early voting around April 20th rather than April 7th.
When did you say early voting would be at Corey?
Corey is April 25th.
Okay.
What was the date on early voting? You said was April the,
It's supposed to start April 7th. And if this House bill is passed and signed, which I was told last week it will change it to around the 20th. That would put it 16 days. I don't know that's the exact date, but that's in the area, so.
And on the satellite early voting, the times on those?
9 to 4 at Corey and Bowling Green, but in the office, it's 8 to 4.
Fantastic.
Do you close for lunch?
I am going to this year, since it's not the presidential,
And at what time is that?
noon to 1.
Okay. Any other questions for Brenda? If not, can I get a motion to approve?
I make the motion that we approve the legal notice of voting places as presented to us today.
Seconded, and once again, any discussion before we vote? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Brenda.
Sign one for the newspaper. We're going to be watching.
Oh, we got a couple here, so,
One is for her and one for me.
okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
What?
You wanted to give it to the newspaper?
I'm required by state to put two different legal notices
Oh,
in
legal
the
notices.
newspapers rolled in together.
Thank you very much. And the final item on our agenda is consideration of county appointments. Paul has been working on this, so if you give us a report on that, Paul.
Yes, we have a vacancy on the Lewis Fire Protection District. The individual that is on there at the present time has decided that he does not wish to be reappointed. And so we have been trying to find somebody. It's not real easy, and so quite frankly, we reached out to Brian Husband, and he talked to several people and come up with someone that's interested. I have called and talked to her, and she's interested and will accept. And Brian is here today representing the Lewis Fire Protection District, and I want to thank you, Brian, for your help and assistance in securing a good individual for this. And you know, as we all know, it's not easy to find good individuals for some of these positions. They're all volunteer, and people don't want to take the time to do it or responsibility. And so we appreciate all of our volunteers stepping up to the plate and accepting our appointments when necessary.
That's right. Good deal. Anything you'd like to add, Brian? Or?
No, I just said we had a board meeting and we discussed different people, and actually her husband was the one they talked about, and when I talked to him, he said he didn't think so, but she said, well, I'd like to do that, so.
Fantastic. Good deal. That's the main thing. And get her done. Okay, I'll entertain a motion then to approve Brenda Campbell for a 4-year term for the years 26 through 29.
I make the motion that we approve Brenda Campbell, as Marty said, for a 4-year term for 26 through 29.
Good deal. I'll second that. Any other discussion before we vote? Being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks for your help, sir. Okay, that concludes our regular agenda. Is there anyone who would like to address commissioners from the floor at this time?
I don't know if you want to get up there, but
It's fine.
I want to thank Bryson and Joe Commander for clearing the sidewalks. I had a meeting back on the 5th, and I granted the courthouse staff, they're busy, and when we got all the snow that we did, you know, it was too cold. We were under a state of emergency. They don't need to be out there. Nobody needs to be out there, but there was a lot of comments about why didn't we use inmates. I know as well as Bryson, they're limited on how many inmates can go out by certain criteria. But Brandon found a couple, was able to clear the sidewalk in front of the courthouse in Alabama Street, which helped because after leaving the meeting, I see a guy on a walker walking out on 40 in front of the courthouse around the school bus. It's not safe. But so I want to commend Bryson and Joe Commander for getting somebody. On what Brian Keller said, I think Clay County is, you know, and I'm just speaking for myself, not as a council member, the housing. We are sitting on the gold mine. I mean, you look at what Vigo County is doing in their industrial park with Intech, going to hire 600 and some people. Some of those people are going to need housing. We can't compete as Clay County with their industrial park. Yeah, granted, we've got a nice industrial park. It'd be nice to have something more to the industrial park because we've got Great Dane, which then a lot of that is a spinoff of Great Dane. But to then grow our population and our tax base, I think what Brian has presented is a great idea. I think there needs to be, you know, I haven't got to see the form yet. I'll see that tonight. But I mean, needs to be some checks and balances, but I just think we're sitting on an opportunity with what Viper County is doing, capitalize off of their, and bring housing here. We've got a interstate,
Yeah.
something around there, there's a lot of great subdivisions in the county, we got room to grow. And granted, I agree with some of the council members, and, we don't want to lose farmland. But at the same time, we're gonna have to lose a little bit of farmland if we're gonna grow this county. So, I know Ryan's gonna be there tonight, so, but I'm gonna definitely say thank you to Bryce and the jail commander, Brandon, for getting snowed. And so I know he's willing to help whenever there's a situation. And granted, the courthouse staff, they're a catch-all. And so maybe next year, if you redo your contract with the snow removal for the parking lots, depending on the amount of snow, look at putting a clause in there and then to get the sidewalks cleared for around the courthouse. That would be great.
Okay.
Mike, I agree with all your thoughts. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I would like to say, keep Congressman Baird's family in your
Yes.
thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, I didn't realize she was that bad. She was at a meeting 2 or 3 weeks ago with him. I don't think she went to the meeting, but she was in the hotel room, I was told last night, and then boom, all of a sudden, she passes. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
I saw that this morning. Anything else from the floor? Sheriff, have anything to add?
No, sir.
Anything from the commissioners before we adjourn? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Uh,
Aye, motion carries. 3-0. Thank you for